Well, at 8:24 a.m. this morning, we continue with the broadcast on news and views, and we are now taking a look at the African National Congress, now turning to the Supreme Court of Appeal, and this is to challenge a High Court order instructing it to hand over minutes of meetings from its deployment committee, and it is clear at this point in time, the deployment and the ANC digging its heels, and this is the reason why they are turning to the Supreme Court. And we are now joined by Professor of African Politics at Unisa, Professor Kealeboga Maphunye. Prof, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Inayat, and good morning to the viewers and listeners. Thank you for
Yeah,
inviting me.
you're welcome, Prof. Prof, we see the ANC digging its heels, and obviously they are going to be turning now to the Supreme Court. And the key issue here is we are talking about minutes with regard to cadre deployment, and they are refusing. And we know at this point in time, the whole issue surrounding cadre deployment in the country has been highly, highly controversial, and just your take on the ANC and to understand as to why the reluctance on the part of the ANC to make these minutes available.
Yeah, right at the beginning, we have to remember that we have the elections of next year looming. There might be 12 months, there might be 18 months, there might be a few months less than that away, starting from today. So, in my view, the political parties obviously are already in the campaign mode, and at this stage, no party would like, to be shortchanged or to lose faith from another party, especially, its rival, as in the case of the ANC and the DA. So my view is that the ANC has decided to challenge this view, this move of handing over, the records, partly because it wants to maintain the momentum running to those elections. That's the big picture here. But if we look specifically at why it decided to challenge this, it's partly because, by the way, this is sensitive information uh, of people that have been earmarked for promotion or who have been promoted or allocated to different parts of national, provincial, and local government, as well as in the diplomatic sphere. We are talking about a whole, intensive database here. So, to that extent, the ANC would like to safeguard, those records. But the other thing is also a political issue, whereby the ANC feels that it has to challenge this because it is being challenged from a party political point of view by the DA, not maybe by some other stakeholder or maybe a civil society body in this case. So that's my take in this regard as to why they decide to go to the Supreme Court of Appeal and appeal this issue.
Yes, Prof. In fact, it is clear that this is going to be a political football in the build up to the elections as well. But when one looks at the motivation, for example, on behalf of the DA, saying that, there could be many skeletons that are buried within the cadre deployment records that the DA is seeking. And these include a whole host of records. Conversations, WhatsApp conversations, emails, CVs, and many other documents. And the ANC again claims that cadre deployment is harmless, and this is the reason why they are desperate to protect these records.
My take is that, yes, you are right. There are issues around protecting those records, especially from the ANC side. And by the way, there's also legislation around, divulging and releasing certain information, which also has to be factored into the equation. But on the other hand, by the way, this issue, this so-called cadre deployment issue, is at the heart of public administration and the role of the political administrative interface in government. And it comes from as far as 1994, when South Africa chose to be a democracy, whereby the question that some of us were asking was, do you want a politicized bureaucracy In other words, a bureaucracy of card-carrying members, cadres, party cadres who are loyal to the party and not to the government or to the nation? Or do you want to have an efficient and effective public administration that can serve the society impartially? The latter for us was the big issue. But of course, it looks like, some people felt that you would also want to have people that you can control in those, administrations. Unfortunately, both parties in this case, the ANC and the DA, are not, innocent in this regard, because somebody was just reminding me that, by the way, even the DA, the way it governs the Western Cape, it does also have some kind of cadre deployment of some sort. They don't use the term, but they do have it. Whereas the ANC, of course, acknowledge it, but we also know that it is wrong. In other words, two wrongs don't make it right. The fact that the DA is applying it in the Western Cape and the ANC is applying it nationally doesn't make the matter to be correct. Because we have seen through the Zondo Commission, when the Zondo Commission fingered this very principle of cadre deployment as one of the causes of the so-called state capture phenomenon that we have currently in the country.
Yes, Prof. But also, when one looks at the court in the High Court ruling, and this is the judiciary is independent or supposedly independent, and the fact that the High Court has actually made this ruling tells us that where there's smoke, there's fire, because this is now the High Court that has basically ordered the ANC to make these records available, and the ANC still sees fit to challenge this High Court ruling.
Absolutely. There's also another leg of the judiciary role in this matter. Increasingly, we are horrified or worried about the judiciarization of politics or the politicization of the judiciary. Either way, how you look at it. Sometimes some people from a party political point of view, they normally, point fingers to the judiciary, that the judiciary is biased whenever they lose cases. But when they win, they say, yes, even the courts can prove that we are correct. So therein lies, the fault line. So we also have to be quite aware that this matter could easily, adversely affect, the judicial role in the political sphere in South Africa, because increasingly political parties are going to test or take their contestations, into the judicial arena, and therein lies also the risk that we have of having a politicized judiciary, which may or may not compromise certain judgments or in matters such as this. And I'm glad that this matter is now going to be taken to the Supreme Court of Appeal, because perhaps when you take it to another court, if it did the same, ruling, then perhaps it might prove that actually this matter, there's much more to this matter than, meets the eye.
Well, Prof, we're going to watch this matter with a lot of interest over the next few weeks and months, possibly. We're not too sure as to when this matter is going to go to the Supreme Court, but at this point in time, we definitely are going to watch the space, because this is huge, this is massive in the interest of South Africa, in the interest of yourself and myself and the citizens of this country. But for now, we thank you for your time. All the best to you.
Thank you so much.
Professor Kealeboga Maphunye with us this morning, Professor of African Politics at Unisa, and we're certainly looking forward to seeing what the Supreme Court of Appeal has to say with regard to this High Court ruling over the ANC handing over cadre deployment records. The time is just gone 8:33. We come back, Hajj Diaries 2023, and this morning we're going live to Makkah with Sheikh Dawood Msimanga.
Sustain,